So welcome. It's the Buddha Center. It's Friday. We're here in the temple. Let's get started like we normally do. Short period of bell meditation. So wherever you are behind your avatar, please get into a nice meditation posture. And as I ring the Ching bell, the idea, focus on the sound of the bell. Really get that deep listening going so we can all absorb some Dharma today. You're going to get distracted. It happens to all of us. When it does, I just want you to gently remind yourself and go back to focusing on the sound of the bell. After the short meditation, there'll be a short pause. I'll do the 3 recitations and then on with the talk for today. So I'm going to give you a moment, get into a nice meditation posture, and we'll begin at the sound of the bell. I go for refuge to the Buddha, the teacher. I go for refuge to the Dharma, the teaching. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the taught. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. I have taken refuge in the Buddha. I have taken refuge in the Dharma. I have taken refuge in the Sangha. 3 pure precepts. Cease to do harm. Do only good. Do good for others. Bodhisattva vow. However innumerable all beings are, I vow to lead them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Swaha. Once again, greetings everybody. Happy Friday. So today, the subject is Our Tribe is Human. We all know that there are tribes in the West. Right? We all are members of little tribes. We just don't label them as tribes. We might call them groups. We might call them affiliations, race, dynasty, national identity, sexual orientation, religion, cohort. There's just all kinds of different labels that we put on it, but when it comes right down to it, it's a tribe. It is a tribal attitude like these that have become both cause and effect of the unsatisfactoriness, discontent, and anguish that we seem to find ourselves in the midst of these days. A choice of tribe causally conditions how we are. And by the way, it's our choice, right? What tribe we join or what tribe we stay in. So the choice of tribe then causally conditions how we are, how we experience the interconnection and the interdependence between not only all human beings, but all phenomena that we deal with as human beings. It conditions how we respond to the tribal allegiances of other human beings. So it kind of determines for a lot of people how they treat others. Much like us sitting here in our Buddhist tribe talking about how we treat others. From the worldview of a human being, I myself am compassionately concerned about the cause and effect of the smaller and smaller tribes that so many people are dividing themselves into. African tribes, Bedouin tribes, Native American tribes, as well as any other racially or geographically described group, is not the only way to distinguish a tribe. In pragmatic Buddhism, for example, tribe goes beyond race and geography. Tribe can be any group of people, and in some cases we can include pets and service animals, or like if you're a rancher, your horse, for example, that you ride to take care of your business on the ranch. It can be anything we connect with as an effect of blood relation, ideological or religious belief, political affiliations, shared experiences, that's a biggie, sexual orientation, and other connections like work, for example. Now, some of these tribal ideals are real, but some are just a delusion. Now, we have this tendency as human beings to apply tribal labels to others. Now, this might be done so that a person feels more comfortable around another person. They might say, wow, they are whatever like me. They are blue like me. If you're looking at the movie Avatar, we'll use that. They are blue like me. But it can also be done to justify anger and hatred and violence against others. Like they are not blue like me. So we put these labels in there, and that causally conditions how we treat others. Oh, and how we treat ourselves too. In this contemporary time, many people blame the problems in the Middle East and on countries on the African continent on tribal values that might have been integral to those cultures for millennia. When there is war or terrorism or honor killings and other violence, somebody is going to say, well, they wouldn't act that way if they weren't so tribal in their thinking. You might even have an uncle or a grandfather or a father that even said that. Honestly, there is truth to the statement, and we have to accept that there's some truth to that. But truth that is rarely realized as applying to Western society as well. You would never hear somebody say about somebody in the U.S. or even in Europe, well, they wouldn't act that way if they weren't so tribal in their thinking. Yet, we all have tribes. So there's the delusion that Western society is somehow above the notion of tribal conflict, even when all we've got to do is look around, it's all around us. tribal attitudes, like Republican or Democrat, keep governments from doing what is needed to alleviate the discontent and unsatisfactoriness of their populations. They cause adversarial confrontation between races and social ideologies, like climate change activists and deniers. And those are only a couple of examples. I have little doubt that other examples have just been popping through your minds. Not to say, though, that there are not legitimate grievances to be discussed and to be dealt with. I mean, look what we're going through right now. Obviously, there is stuff that we could work on. There is stuff that we could discuss and deal with. It is to say that appropriate view and pragmatic response cannot be reached when any tribal allegiance is seen to outweigh the most important tribe that each of us belong to. The human tribe. We're all members of that. A person can have membership in a whole big variety of tribes in any given moment. They can come and go in those tribes. How that person thinks and acts is causally conditioned by which tribe they experience as the core or the foundation of their being. Which tribe they accept, which tribe they emulate, and which tribe they even rise to protect the most often. There is nothing inherently negative about belonging to a tribe. It's a good thing. Belonging, nothing wrong with that. Human beings like it. They like that feeling of belonging and of fitting in and of being part of something that they see as bigger than themselves. The danger arises when one loses connection with that tribe. When what should influence our thoughts and actions the most is the human tribe, that overarching tribe that we all belong to. When any other tribal allegiance causes one to pit themselves against humanity as a whole, suffering in some form is going to arise. So when one tribe says we are above everybody else and they set themselves above humanity, it's a cause of suffering. So I personally can acknowledge tribes that I lay claim to being a member of. Writers, men, military veterans, hippies, Buddhists, ex-cons, chefs, hikers, fathers, husbands, Caucasians, and there's a few others in no particular order. The tribe, though, that is at the core of my being, the one that I look to first when I'm getting ready to decide how I'm going to think or act around others, is the human tribe. I belong first and foremost to the human tribe. And so do you, and hopefully you will realize it. Buddhism is the path that I use to be the best member of the human tribe that I can be. Was it always this way? Oh, no. For a time, it was the Buddhist tribe that dominated my thoughts and actions. It was all about being a Buddhist. It was that tribe that brought about the moment of enlightenment that I had, that over all the other tribes, I am always a lifetime member of the human tribe. Of all the tribes I'm a member of, that's the one I can't get away from. So, that must be my core tribe. If it's the only one I can never leave, must be my tribe. Buddhist philosophy and practice don't separate me from others, no matter what tribe they choose. These are the thoughts and actions that bind me to the human tribe. I have compassion for all members of the human tribe, no matter what other tribe they might choose to join. Can we as Buddhists truly take the actions necessary to realize the Four Ennobling Truths without accepting our role in the human tribe as the one that is most important. Happy Friday, Faye. Look at the first truth. The first truth that all human beings encounter suffering in their lives. Well, that's a pretty clear view then that we are all members of this human tribe because we're all going through the same thing. The second truth, that craving is at the core of our suffering, is clearly revealed in the damage that attachments to smaller and smaller tribes is causing in society. The third truth, that there is a path away from suffering, it is a human path. No other species can get on that path but us, because our tribe is human. And the fourth truth, the Eightfold Path, well, it offers a way to realize that in order to hold real compassion in our body minds for all those other human beings that are out there suffering, we've got to choose the human tribe first and foremost. Does that mean that our other tribes aren't important? No. It just means that without that human tribe, all those other tribes, they're superfluous. They mean nothing. In 2020 America today, there is an example. It is kind of a sad one, or a sorrowful one, if you will, of how choice of a foundational tribe can lead to discontent, unsatisfactoriness, and anguish across a broad expanse of humanity. The political parties here in the U.S., many Republicans and Democrats, they view their most important tribal allegiance as the one to their party. This inappropriate view has led to nothing of value being accomplished. It has led to violence and anger and hatred. No matter what side of the divided system has a truly good idea, and it does happen, that idea might relieve the suffering of people on the other side, so they've got to deny it. They have to vilify it in the name of tribal loyalty. If what I'm about to do is good for your tribe, then I can't do it. It's party loyalty. It is not possible for them to work together toward a common goal of human flourishing because their intent rests in advancing the party, not in taking the altruistic actions necessary to benefit anyone other than their party. Any sense of compassion for other people is lost in a fog of anger, hatred, and deceit. At this point, I want to throw something out here. I originally wrote this talk in 2016. Touched it up a little for today, but the only thing in that paragraph I changed was the date, in 2020. It did say in 2016. So 4 years have gone by and there's been no change. In fact, if anything, it seems to have gotten worse. But hey, we're Buddhists. We're human beings too, right? We're a member of the human tribe. And Buddhists are not immune to the divisiveness of choice of foundational tribe. The schism that caused the two major Buddhist traditions, the Mahayana and the Theravada, it arose resulting from such a choice, from a choice of tribe. And in this time right now, there is the arising of religious and secular Buddhist tribes. The Buddha sought out and awakened to the realities of being a human being, not to being some subset of human choice. He wasn't directing his teachings just toward his tribe. He was directing those teachings and offering them to everybody. His teachings were intended to liberate all human beings, regardless of what tribe they choose. Without the ideal of considering cause and effect on the human tribe, the reality of liberating all human beings as a goal could be impossible to achieve if we don't come to the realization that we are first and foremost a human tribe. We can also look to language to help us out here. A simple word choice can change the way we think and act. We can say, rather than herbivores versus carnivores, blacks versus whites, Muslims versus Christians, police versus the community. Instead of the word versus, which reveals that tight tribal attitude, we change it to the word and. It's a much more accepting word. And it becomes herbivores and carnivores, blacks and whites, Muslims and Christians, police and community. And this reveals the thinking and acting of a member of the human tribe. Because it's not saying, I don't want your tribe, I don't need your tribe, I feel like I'm at war with your tribe. It says, we're just two tribes. And, right? There's no denying, though, that there are conflicting ideologies that we have to deal with. Hey, but we can deal with them. Because it's just one of the realities of human suffering. Understanding and taking action from the perspective of being a member of the human tribe is the ideal that will lead us to effectively dealing with the issues that we're dealing with today and achieving human flourishing as we go on through our lives. Every one of us here today can claim membership in a whole variety of tribes. I mean, I listed a bunch that I find myself in. You could list just as many and maybe more. And within those tribes are people that hold similar views and they have similar experiences to your own. They can be tribal allegiances that add positively to how we are, or they can limit our view of the suffering of others. Each of us must engage in rigorous self-honesty to determine which one of those tribes we should nurture and which one of those tribes we need to just weed out. And no matter which we choose to let grow, they must grow from that fertile ideal of being first and foremost a member of the human tribe, our tribe. We are each interconnected to and interdependent on this human tribe. So I mentioned just a few moments ago that this was actually originally written in 2016. And it kind of surprised me when I found this at the very end. In 2016, a wide receiver for the Cleveland Browns was being interviewed on a podcast. His name is Andrew Hawkins. And he was speaking about the issues, remember, 4 years ago, speaking about the issues between Black Lives Matter, the black community, and the police. One thing he said that stuck in my mind, and I have it written down so I don't forget it, is this, quote, "It's not about who's right. It's about what's right." These are pragmatic words that apply to the most effective way to think and act as a member of the human tribe. It's not about who's right. It's about what's right. And as Buddhists, that's what we should look to.